As a quick reminder for our listeners, Jake spent 6 months in a highly prominent role in Stu Hart's territory, and he worked with the likes of JYD, Bret Hart, Dynamite Kid, and you even challenged NWA champion Harley Race during that time. So it was a really epic run for you up there.
Yeah, it was hot and heavy real quick, man.
Man, I loved reviewing it. And folks, if you missed that episode, go back and it was 2 episodes on Stampede Wrestling. We did part 1 and part 2. Go out of your way to check those out because this is a continuation of that. But with all that in mind, Jake, about what all that you went through there, can you give us our listeners a refresher on what prompted the decision to move out of Stampede, where you had enjoyed the greatest success of your career up to that point?
It just felt like it was time to go. You know, feeling I had. And I was homesick too. You know, I had not seen my family for over a year.
Well, that'll definitely do it. And yes, I think it had been like even during your time in Vancouver, you went straight from Vancouver to Calgary, so you never got a chance to go home.
Nope.
Crazy. So it makes sense that you would want to come back to the United States. But the next question, I think, is of all the territories, why MidSouth and Bill Watts?
Well, familiarity. My father was there, and I knew that I could learn a lot there. And that's kind of what I was wanting to do, was to keep learning. And I knew that I would learn in MidSouth. So I put a call in and got the green light. And off to MidSouth I went. Once I got there, I told him about JYD, that he had gotten his act together and was a piece of talent they should be interested in. And it didn't take long before JYD was there.
Holy shit. So I had no idea that you were the one who introduced the idea of bringing Sylvester down there.
Yep. Yeah,
and it makes sense because you just worked with him.
They brought him in, you know, and they didn't like the Sylvester Ritter thing. So they went with Junkyard Dog. And it was quite a rib because at TV they would have him take a wheelbarrow to the ring, and it would have car parts in it, you know, a transmission, all sorts of real heavy shit. And at the end of the match, he was supposed to grab his opponent and put him on the wheelbarrow and then take him back to the locker room.
What a gimmick.
Yeah. What a fucking rib, huh?
A wheelbarrow, it's like, especially with all that heavy shit, he's probably halfway blown up by the time he gets to the ring.
Oh, he's completely blown up.
Well, I'm glad they pulled the nose up on that gimmick because, like, again, it's here in Mid-South. He's in the next couple of years, he's going to go on to be the biggest star ever in that territory. He's going to light it up. And holy shit, it would have never existed without Jake Roberts. How about that?
That's true.
I mean, this is before the days of phones and whatnot. I know your father's working for the territory. I mean, is it as simple as like you reach out to your dad, or who are you calling to get this chance?
I reached out to my father, and he talked to Bill Watts and Ernie Ladd, who was the booker at the time. Now,
I know that you had said before that your father really didn't see much in you as a professional wrestler in your early days. Do you feel like you had proven yourself to your dad by this point? He was like, well, this kid just challenged fucking Harley Race and hung in there with him. Do you think you had earned his respect?
I think I had. And it was quite a huge step for me, you know, making that move to Louisiana. And unfortunately for me, I was only there a short time and I broke my arm.
All right. That is going to answer a question that I've got coming up here, because you had one match here in late 1979 and then you disappear. So, yeah. All right, we'll get to that story in a moment. Did you know much about Bill Watts at this point, or have any idea about his reputation?
I knew he was an asshole, but hell, I've met lots of assholes.
Oh, yeah. Well, as a result of making this call, and now you're kind of taking everything you've learned and you're bringing it back to the U.S., you've got that huge move ahead of you from Calgary to Southern United States. You mentioned on the first Calgary episode, you had this long trip to British Columbia, and it gave you a lot of time to think about you and your character and what you wanted to kind of reinvent yourself as. I know that you had kind of started to find yourself while you're up there, but are you nervous now on the other side as you're coming back to the United States? Like, there's a lot of uncertainty. Would you say that you're anxious about what your future holds?
Very anxious, intimidated out my ass, even a little scared that I would fail.
Yeah.
But I was confident that I could at least hang in there for a while, But, here I am going from being a main eventer every night to Louisiana, where my hopes were to be able to be good enough just to be on the card, because the talent was a whole lot different, a whole lot better.
It's a whole different pressure than you were experiencing when you went out to Calgary, because I remembered you saying that you felt like you were really kind of in the shadow of your father when you were working out there with Buck Robley. And so you made the jump out to Calgary, and here's your chance to reinvent yourself. Now your father's kind of putting his stamp on you and giving you his endorsement by bringing you in here. So now there's this whole other layer of pressure, like, okay, I got away from my, that stigma of being my father's son. Now I'm coming back here to work in the same territory where he is. I can't imagine how nerve-wracking that would be.
Yeah, it was pretty heavy, man.